This is Mr. Schaefer, and I am going to give you a mini review for the Unit 1 test, and use this to review one more time and make sure you're prepared for the material. So here we go. The first section here for the A and B is asking that you guys evaluate. Remember, that means solve. So you use the strategies we've talked about. And one of them is that if it's all multiplication and parentheses, you can ignore the parentheses actually and move the numbers around, move the parentheses around. And I would do 5 times 2 is 10, multiply that by the 12, 12 times 10 is 120. On the second one, I would do all the parentheses first. There's 12 and 24 and 20 when you multiply those facts. Adding will be last. We have order of operations that we have to follow. Multiply happens before adding. So then we have 2 times 12 is 24. That's all gone. 2 times 24 is 48. And when the numbers are right next to parentheses, that means multiply. 2 of the 20s, 2 times 20 is 40. And then we add 24 plus 48 plus 40. It is 112. You can do it to the side, but that's how you would do it. In the fill in the blank sections to make the equations true, we are using the strategies, and the one that comes up here, I'm just going to abbreviate here, is doubling and halving. You can see that the 8 has doubled going this way, and the kids have seen this a lot, so they should be in tune that this could be what you're doing. So that means we need to cut the other number in half to make it equivalent. So half divided by 2 of 22 is 11. Then the final thing is they want a solution here because there's a third part to the equation. Part 1, 11 times 16. Part 2 is 22 times 8. And the third part is the answer. And I would do 20 times 8. This is our partial product strategy. And 2 times 8, because you can do those both in your head. 20 times 8 is 160. 2 times 8 is 16. Add those together, you get 176. That's 11 times 16 equals 22 times 8 equals 176. I am going to clear the board off because I got some stuff down here. The next one is 38 times 98 is equal to all of this, and it's equal to, there's our product there at the end. So this is the over strategy that's being applied. We're going to go up a little bit from 98 to almost 100. So why don't we multiply by 100 times 38? Which is 3,800, but then we need to remove, that's this part right here, remove the extra 38. So we got 2 of them, which is 76. You can do the math off to the side, but I know this answer is 3,724. 100 minus 76 is 24, so it's 3,724. And then this section here says, also fill in the messy number, but explain what's the strategy you used. This one here is, again, a doubling and halving situation where they have doubled 6. So that means we need to take the other factor, 140, and divide that one by 2. Cut it in half. And that's 70. So I would just explain in a sentence, I use doubling and halving in order to find the solution of 70. No answers needed. You don't have to do 140 times 6 or 12 times 70. The last 2 on this page are true and false. You have to determine using our strategies without doing the actual problem. See if you can find out if it's true or false. You don't need to do 91 times 13, and you don't have to do this other side. You just have to see, did they do the strategy correctly? This one is a partial product strategy where they have divided up the 13 into a 10 and a 3. So there are 13 91s. And if you look over here, they have 10 of the 91s here and 3 of the 91s here. You are supposed to add them back together. So this one is false because they were subtracting them. So this actually goes down to 7. This equals 7 times 91. Not enough. They should have added them. This should be adding. And then the last one, this one's pretty easy. They use the same digits on both sides of the equation. They have used the same operations, and they've just moved the parentheses. So It is the same, I don't know the best way to say this, but this is the same problem because they have just moved the parentheses. You could also solve this. This is not hard to do. 12 times 2 is 24 on this side, and 6 times 4 is 24. You can see that works. Second page. Write the expression based on what words they tell you. So you kind of do exactly what it says, using parentheses as needed. Be as accurate as possible. I like to start with the equation with what the original problem is and then what the strategy is that they say. Double and half. We will double to 19 because we can't cut 19 in half. Multiply because that's the multiplication going. 22 turns into 22 divided by 2. That's it. Now I am going to jump down to the next A down here because it's the same problem. So use it and solve because they're supposed to solve on this part here. So I'm going to go ahead and do 19 times 22 is 19 doubled and 22 divided in half. So that's 38 times 11. And I actually did 38 times 10 in my mind. I'm thinking 380 and 38 times one more. Oops, that's 38. And when we add those together, it adds up to be 418. The answer to that is 418. Go back up to B now. Switch colors. We're back to red. 45 times 9, they are supposed to find 45 times 10. And remove means subtract. One group of 45, I believe that says. One group of 45. And I'm going to erase the work I did earlier. You can rewind this video if you want to see what that said. So we have 450 minus 45. 45 minus from the 50 is 5, so this ends up being 405. And that's the, I solved it. So what this says is goes down here. Sorry about that. I got carried away. All right. These are rectangular prisms. We have been solving lots of these. We've talked about Brad's baseballs. You can ask your kids about that. Kids, you can tell your parents about that. So we've got a base that has 6 across the base there for the length. And the width is 3. And the height going up is 3. And we know that the equation will be length times width. So we've got 6 times 3 for the base. So the length times width times a height of 3. And 18 times 3 is 54. You could put cubes. Put cubic units. Either one is correct. Down here, they take out the length and the width, and they actually tell the kids that one layer is 54. It's kind of like saying this layer down here, without doing the math, is 54. It's not the same problem, but it's the kind of where they're talking. So 54 on the first layer, and then they tell us that the box has 9 layers, so we multiply by 9. Here is the base, right here. Here is the height, right there. The base is the length times width. It doesn't matter what multiplied to make it. They already told us it. And the answer, we got 450 and 36, 486 balls of some type. And you could do the math off to the side. I did 50 times 9 and 4 times 9 and added those together. And that takes us to the final problem. Using numbers, words, or pictures to solve the problem. Figure out what to do with the remainder and answer the question. Write the equation. So in this one, kids have earned $75, and there are 6 kids who did it, and they're going to split the money equally. So the equation would be $75 divided into 6 equal groups equals something, and we're going to do the work here. 2 ways I'm going to do. Long division. We've talked a lot about that this past week. And I've talked about D, M, S, C, B, dad, mom, sister, cousin, brother, or does McDonald's serve cheeseburgers to help remember that it's divide, then multiply, then subtract, then check, and then bring down a number. Here they are. 6 divides into 7 once. Multiply 1 times 6. Subtract at 1. Always check. Is that less than 6? It is. Bring down to 5. 15 divided by 6 is 2. Multiply is 12. You have a difference of 3. then that's our remainder. The question is, what's the 3 mean? It's $3 left over, split among 6 kids. And what I would do is think about it like this. Here's $3. Cut them in half. Kid 1, kid 2, kid 3, kid 4, kid 5, kid 6. Each gets a $0.50. So the answer will be $12, and then the remainder actually incorporates into it is 50 cents each of the dollars. Now the other way I have talked about it is I told the kids, well, we could, there's not too many groups, there's 6 kids, kid 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, you could start divvying the money up and go, well, what's a big chunk I could put in? I start with $75. Could I give everybody $10? They get 10 each. 10 times 6 is 60. Let's get that out of there. We still have $15. 6 kids, $15. I could probably give everybody $2. 6 times 2 is $12 I used. Now we're down to $3. What do we do with the $3? Well, same thing we did over here. And that gives us the 50 cents in each of them. 50 cents, 50 cents, 50 cents, and we have it. So there's a visual of kind of what happens in a division problem too. So that's it. These are the topics that are on the test. Hopefully this helped, and we'll see you on Monday or whenever this test happens in the future.